Yeah, well, to have some playground. I think I'll do replace my central widget with something entirely new. Question 1, what is currently in my central widget? I think it's a Q frame. No, not the central widget. The chess view. So we have this class here. It's derived from a graphics view. Let's just put a brand new test graphics view in there. Let's first put it here. Test view. So that's also a graphics view. Seems to be all. And then in the constructor of this thing, we need to do something. So currently I'm having this is constructor, which is then going to become test view. Which is empty, I think. Yeah, I need an item, I think, also in it. But nothing is adding an item here. It's strange. Yeah, let's first see if I can replace this thing. So I have this test view. Replacing that should happen in. Actually, maybe I should. Oh, what the hell. I'm going to commit what I have now before I mess this all up. It is the item here. No test. No build. What the hell is build doing there? I don't want to even think about it. I think this is also nonsense. It shouldn't even be here. It's something that belongs in here. Just remove it. And then git status. Okay, our resources. I need to add that as well. Yeah, let's add support for GUI as a character to something I already had. Not happy with it, but otherwise it didn't compile. So okay, I need a queue. The chess window is the constructor that builds everything up. I think the board view here is the thing that I want to replace. The board view is the chess view. I want to replace the chess view with the test view. But yeah, it did get constructed. Let's see what this is. Generated code generated by Qt creator. And this whole block is what it is doing with it. It creates it. That's an object name. Not sure if I need that though. And then it's a size policy. All kinds of stuff. I'm gonna just copy it. Why not? Grid layout add widget board view in 221. Maybe if I do add, then it will replace it. Well, I think I'll ask ChatGPT about that. Oops. So instead of just view, the parent is board frame. That's weird actually. I would expect something else to be the parent, but well. I think it just uses board frame to inherit everything from, like the CSS. I mean, that's my guess here. So that create test view, immediately overriding current board view. I suppose you can also just destruct it first. Let's see, if that doesn't crash, then that should be good. Or maybe I need to replace it. No, let's set a different object name. Board view, let's call it test view. Size policy, expanding, why not? Horizontal stretch, don't keep that the same. Height, set height for width. Board view size policy has height for width. Nobody knows what that is. I did just creating a size policy, and then we set it. Now I can use the same size policy as the board view, but I shouldn't delete it already. Can move this above that point. Or maybe I can just get the size policy back. I mean, this looks like the size policy, period. Confusing thing. It calls board view size policy, and then immediately afterwards it calls set size policy. That. So everything is replaced except the has height for width, and I don't even know what that is. I think that I'm just going to assume that if it looks like it's doing something, then it's actually doing that. So let's copy the board view size policy like that. And then don't change anything. And then the board view is oh, I can't do that, of course. The type is different. Okay, can't do that yet. So test view, it is a GUI test view pointer. Okay, if I'm not overriding board view, maybe you can. Let's not do that. Maybe we're not even the owner. Probably something else. Someone else the owner. And they will delete it the moment I replace it. Which then in turn means that this can be moved more or less in the same place as the previous one. Also, we don't want to do anything really, not I think, with the current board view. At least all these things. No. I'm not even going to attach it to the scene. Which means that this might fail or not. I'm not going to rewrite the CSS. Probably still works. Let's see. It's at a minimum size, you know, okay. Or maybe not, I don't know. Set property cursor. No, let's not do that one. Set mouse tracking, not really. Set frame shape. So the thing is a frame like this. No, why not? Shadow plane, set line width, set vertical scroll bar policy, off, that should already be the case. Oh no, that is not the case, of course. That is the case because it is here, as in the generated code. But it's not going to be the case for the test view. So I keep that. Brush color, no brush, but we do have a brush. Brush. Set background brush. Things all confused. Set a render hints, smooth pixmap transform. I don't know what that is. Drag mode, no drag. Oh, that's why I can't drag. Interesting, yeah. Anchor under mouse, well, probably, that seemed to work. Anchor view center. Resize anchor. Okay, yeah, okay. Let's keep that as well. Okay, let's remove all this. Maybe you have to remove it first. Yeah, I suppose that the grid here is just a grid layout object. And the old widget is this one. Kind of guessed that even. And then old view delete layer. And then we create a new one, and then we just add it. Optional if you code elsewhere refers to UI board view. Redirected to the new widgets, but yeah, that's not possible because or the whole type is different. So this creates it, and then yeah, here we add it. The grid layout, add widgets, test view, and then here. This is also a user interface object. Just a grid layout there. Probably would still work with do it down there because it says later, but a bit scary to access the thing on. I already call that. No, seems to have worked. With the old one, my mouse changed shape to a hand, but now it's still an arrow. And the whole thing is black. So definitely, the old one is definitely not there anymore. And if this is the new one, we'll see shortly. This white a rectangle is probably the frame, because I set it to 2 pixels, right? To have a white frame, which is already drawn. That would be this one. It's a plain box with a width of 2, and apparently a color that is white. Yeah, you can't draw. I mean, this is my... Well, this is what you draw to. It's a view. But you also have to add it to... Do we actually have to add it? What to add it to a scene. I see this one is missing. Definitely want to add it to a scene as well. Our scene. Should be able to do that in the end. I'll do that before this one. I don't think that will make any difference in how it is drawn. It should still look the same. Oh. Nothing changed. Okay, yeah, now we need an item. So look at that. I probably want to replace the item as well. Here, oh, here's just, well, item lives in a scene, okay. Yeah. I think this is the real item. This is also gone because I commented it out. And then let's search for the item with the capital I. And it goes all there. This we get a wrap. So all items are here. And that is a chessboard item. And that is added to the scene. That's it. But we also do something with the board view, which I just replaced. Oh no, that's a custom. This just sets a member variable. The center on, however, is of the base class, GUI graphics view. Center on board item, interesting. Not entirely sure what that does. Vaguely remember that it's probably a good idea to call center on at least once. But I'm not sure what exactly it was doing. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT in this detail. The old code is where board item is just some item with the paint. Can you explain what the effect of calling center on like this is? That the given scene position ends up at the center of the viewport. That's not clear. Scene position? You mean the origin of the scene? At the center of the viewport. When you call board view center on board item, here's what actually happens. Determining the target position. UT takes the center of board item's scene bounding a rectangle Mapping scene to view coordinates. It converts that scene point to view coordinates. Well, whatever. Adjusting scroll bars, horizontal, vertical scroll. We don't have horizontal, vertical scroll bars. Result, the scene is scrolled and any active GUI transform is respected. So that board item is visually centered in the viewport. No changes made to the item's position inside the scene. No changes made to the item's own transformation. Effectively, it's the same as manually computing. Get the center and then call center on. View center on. Really. Magically it knows I'm doing chess. It's a completely new chat. It sneakily remembers though. Calling center on board item ensures the chessboard item is neatly... Oh wait, actually it does know the chess stuff. Because I just asked something with the word chess in it. Calling center on board item ensures the chessboard item is neatly centered in the visible area of the GUI graphics view, regardless of the view's current zoom or the scene's overall size. No, I cannot follow it. I think in some coordinate system it moves to origin there. And since I'm only having 2 coordinate systems at the moment, I think the scene coordinate system must be changed. Okay, let's first of all, don't talk about scroll bars. So I don't have scroll bars. So don't mention them, as it only confuses me more. Nevertheless, do I understand it correctly that this causes the origin of the scene in scene coordinates, obviously, to be at the place of the center of this item, aka C. Thank you for the horrible abbreviation. I'm gonna copy it like this. Fuck. Yeah, of course. In scene space, it stays where it was. But okay, my item also has a certain fixed position inside the scene space, and very unlikely exactly at the origin. Though if it was, then that would be a coincidence. So okay, they are different. So they cannot be made the same. So okay, my question was nonsense. If you were to query board item scene pos before and after, the answers are identical. Yeah. The scene boundary rectangle. The scene here means that whatever's returned is in scene coordinates. So it is a bounding rectangle in scene coordinates. And the bounding rectangle is the bounding rectangle of the whole item. And I guess that the center of that bounding rectangle coincides with the center of the item that we were talking about all the time. Then do I now understand this remark? So suppose that this is a view coordinates, and then if we call this function, we get scene coordinates. So we have the center of, what is the center of the viewport? It's not the same as the center of the item. Yeah, that's confusing. Okay, I'll have to ask that again then. Then is the center of the item, that is, the item has a bounding box encompassing everything of that item. And the center of that box is called the center of the item. In scene coordinates, but this one is the center of the viewport. Rectangle. Oh yeah, okay. So after call to center on, those two become the same, indeed. Yeah. Not but, not and. And on to scene, dus also in scene coordinates. Thus centering the item in the viewport. So one word. Well, I don't know. Makes these two the same. Right. Well, I suppose that you can use a simple item. It doesn't really matter what it is. I don't have to create a class for it even. Well, no, I want to override the paint of it, because then we can print debug output from within that. And we need control over the bounding box rectangle. Let's see what the difference is of that. Why is this called a logical size? We have logical coordinates, scene coordinates, viewport coordinates, global coordinates, world coordinates, item coordinates. Still can't place them. Okay, let's just make a new class for this one as well, man. Test. It's a class. That should be a uppercase T. Test item. Nobody knows what it is. I can't add a comment if I don't know what it is. No, it shall return. Maybe that is too much. No, it doesn't have to do anything with pixels. It shall return whatever you want. Or does it have something to do with pixels? I don't know. Yeah, maybe not this. Let me just, I don't know, something about 100 and 150. Oh, that's also has have an we also have an offset. Hmm. Paint. Stuff. It's a Q rectangle, is that? Okay, this is a painter, so I want to know about Q painter fill rectangle. Yeah, nothing, of course. Probably calling this one. I suppose as an rectangle F, so I suppose this is just something with integers. Q rectangle. Let's avoid the integers for now. I'm just gonna pause this, I think. It also takes an Q color. Can take a Q color. So yeah, rectangle F. Is that the width or what is it? I need to know. What? Q rect F. Can't even click on it. Just adjust it. Yeah, it's width and height. Must be able to print it. What? Oh, never mind. Paints beautifully nothing. And it doesn't even call anything. Are we even adding, are we even creating my item? Probably not. Let's create the item and then add it. Board item, yeah, here's a board item that was added. So basically this. And then the centered on, okay, maybe I'll start calling that so at least it will be visible. And this is not necessary, yeah. Test item, yeah, the GUI. Am I inside GUI? Probably. Test item, pointer, new test item, scene add item, test item, user interface, you don't have that, test view, center on test item. And we crash. In paint. No, nothing happens. Oh, that's something happened. Illegal instruction. Probably I'm missing a return or something. Exactly. Return OS is missing. Yeah, beautiful. I'm not sure about what it understands about center, though, but it's calling a lot of stuff though. Well, only when I move the window. Okay, well, you still don't know anything, obviously. It's probably nice to know where what the bounding box is. You know what it thinks that a bounding box is. Visually with visual feedback. So the only visual feedback that I can ever get is in that paint thing. So that is my item, whatever it is, chess item here. And then here is my paint. So I probably want to. Let's see. I have a. Let's move this to the CXX file. Yep, it compiles. Interesting. So they're definitely centered. Centered in the view. So it's drawing outside its own bounding box. Let's try this one out. Yeah, cool. This got clipped. It also clips the rhetoric thing itself. So I guess that the way this is being drawn now, it is beyond, beyond its own bounding box. So we want to draw that inside the bounding box. I would have to subtract 1, but then just 1 pixel, so that's too difficult. Let's just not set the clip, and then consider the bounding box to be, more or less approximately there is the bounding box. However, let me not draw outside the bounding box then. So this rectangle must be not this high. See, we have 120. Actually, this is this is the width, the height. We have 200 height. How the hell can I get above that? Doesn't make any sense. This does not make any sense. Oh, it's upside down. Never mind. Going down is a positive y direction. So we are going the negative, and that means that makes sense because the height is 35 and then the height is 45. So we go down to a -10. So we want to draw 45. It's all nice and dandy. I'll just make this 55. And this is also way too big then for the 30. Wait, see that wrong? In a minute. See that wrong? No, I still don't get it. Now I have to type it again. This is a stupid remark here, showing that the AI has no intelligence. Because I'm drawing it in Paint, both of them. It just draws it outside of it, and there's no coordinate system offset involved. I'm just drawing it, and whatever the offset is applied to both, so that would cancel. Oh, fuck me. Yeah. Well, it's still true what I said, but I'm stupid as well. Because we start at 50 here. So everything must be larger than 50. And here I start at 35. That's the reason. Yes, okay, so more or less wanted to change them, maybe exchange them, or just add 30. Let's try that. Now we are inside. Okay, so I have some kind of rectangle here, not centered in its own bounding box, which is centered in the viewport because I called center on. The size, however, is a bit unclear. You know, why does it have this size? I think it has this size because there is a transformation going on between all the coordinate systems, and that transformation is initialized as the identity. I mean, you have to initialize it like something. I'm not calling any functions that would change it, and therefore it is the identity. Which means that whatever I used is in the end going to be equivalent to pixels. Even if I work in the scene coordinates, identity everywhere means that it is also that wide in the device coordinate or viewport coordinate or any coordinate system. So this is 200 pixels high, and whatever I picked wide, 120, yeah. Now, like the description said, or that I wrote something in the description. I'm going to look at this answer, read it, and it's very long, and then try things out. The relative coordinate system. Everything in the graphics view framework uses coordinates relative to their context. Right. More correctly, almost any geometry-related class in Qt primarily uses a local coordinate system that may be eventually translated to its parent if necessary. Okay. I mean, I just can't grasp all that stuff. That's why I want to write code and then see for myself what it really means. This is not that different from what is normally done with widgets and even windows. Suppose you have a custom widget that also happens to be a top-level window without borders and title bar, and you draw a 10x10 square at 10,10 pixels from the origin. Its top left corner. Now we're talking about local coordinates, I guess. 0,0. I mean, that is per definition the top left corner of whatever you're talking about. From its origin. Oh, that's the origin. Yeah. You place that window on the top left corner of your screen. And it will happen to draw the square exactly at 10,10 pixels away from the top left of your screen. If you move that window though, the square will be shown at a different position relative to the screen, but still at 10,10 relative to the window. Yeah, so we understand that. I understand that because this just means that this distance here, the top left of the blue box, is at 3065. Yeah, it draws it at 3065. Doesn't look like 3065 though. Okay, we have another problem here. I don't know where the origin is of this coordinate system. We are still talking about, let's call this the item coordinate system, because these are hard-coded things that I use in the item, test item, hard-coded stuff. These are item coordinates. And we have a bounding box. And we have a rectangle that we draw, well, solid blue rectangle with different coordinates. But it would be nice to see where the origin is, at the very least. Let's draw just a line. Draw a cross at the origin. So we know where the 0, 0 is. I suppose this still holds. Painter draw. I'm gonna assume that I can draw a line. And then I guess the line takes 2 points. Let's look up the documentation for this. This is so not usable because there is no search. There is a search here, but if you draw a line here, then you get nothing, I bet. Still in this class. Control F, draw a line. There's a lot of lines here. There is a Q line F. So yeah, maybe I should use that. Or maybe I should just use 2 points. Maybe if I use this, I just get a line. I mean, that would be nice. Without, you know, a stopping point or something. Point. What is the Q line? What is that? And why can't I just click on it to get it? Okay, LM. Nope. It's a linear gradient, no Q line. It has just 2 points. Angle, center, intersect is null, length, normal vector, point add, set angle, set length, unit vector. I think it's a line piece, not a mathematical line. Although here, intersection type. No, it is only for calculating intersections. I'm just gonna pass 2 points, I think. It is ambiguous because it doesn't know if you want to use Q point or not. Well, these are very clearly doubles. So I'll just have to tell it that I want to use a Q point F. Maybe the F stands for float, and I should pass floats instead of doubles. But yeah, I'm already done now. That's where the origin is. All in item coordinates. No, it makes sense, alright? And our origin is outside of our bounding box. Well, why not? Yeah, this has to do with the blue box, which this is bounding, whatever, and origin is a totally random place. But that should have nothing to do with the viewport. This is the viewport. Now I know where the origin of the viewport is, that would be there, and I know where the bounding box of the viewport is, that is here. But can I draw that? Can my item know about the viewport? That is the question. A white dot here. Oh, that's probably just, it's a yellow dot. It's the bottom of the cross. Okay. Click, bleep. Let's ask the artificial something. How can my item get the size of the viewport? The test view. Well, I have 5. Okay, there must be at least in one. So I'm gonna assert that the views is not empty. Because we had that, right? Where did it say that? Yeah. No. Yeah. 11 is empty on the views. Okay. It should not be empty, and then I can loop over it like this, apparently. And then there should be exactly one that is a test view. So I can do test view. Seriously, I'll just start doing that. Gonna use a dynamic cast that uses the virtual table to find out what the originally created object was. So I did a new test view, and then that was derived from the GUI graphic view. So we have a base class pointer, but it was created as a test view. So we should be able to cast the view to a test view, but only of course if it was a test view. So if test view, there's a null pointer and it was one of the other four. Yeah, well, that's clear. That was that. In this case, I want to do stuff. I want to, well, for a start, I want to get some information about this view. You can get a size. The view's visible widget is a viewport in a plain Q widget. You can query its size in view/widget pixel coordinates. Is Q size two-dimensional then? Well, if it says so, I know what size is now. What is size here? Can use test view. Main overview. I mean, yeah, this is in the base class, right? So. Okay, I'll have to figure out what Q size is anyway, because I want to print it. Otherwise, well, might as well not have this line. If I don't print it, and then in order to print it, I need to add an OStream operator for it. Which means I have to figure out how to print it, and so on and so on. VI debug OStream operators.h. So I'm going to add an Q size. Maybe it's just an using Q size is a Q rectangle, but and then I'm wasting my time now. Okay, let's look up what it is first. It's a real thingy. There's a width and a height. Oh, yeah, okay. A rectangle also has an origin and a width and a height. It's a part of a rectangle. We get a reference to the height. Oh, we also have a normal width. We have a width and a height. Here's the height. And in integers. Oh. Yeah, well, it was in pixels, so maybe that's why. Viewports are in pixels. Anyway, so we need this for real. Q size. Start with that before we crash again. How about I use some other brackets to show that this is absolutely, certainly, really the size in pixels. I don't know, maybe this. Size dot width, comma, size dot height. How about it as bx here? Okay, here we are. It says the test view is 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 6, 8 pixels. No, that could be correct. What to resize my window? Let's make it very much. Nothing happens. Interesting. Okay, so very narrow. Yeah, same height. No, it's 316 by 766. Before it was 768, so I almost did it correctly. And I did set the resize center also to the center of whatever. So what was in the center before is still in the center, even though we did resize it. I think that makes absolutely sense. How small can I make this thing? No, does not want to go smaller. No, it is 85 by 85. Well, I don't know if this is 85, but definitely possible. Can make the red triangle fit exactly. More or less exactly. Hey, exactly, guy. I swear I didn't look here. 120, 200. Did I win the lotto? So these are also not scaled. There is no scaling between them. As expected, right? Because we still assume that every conversion is still, using an identity matrix. Although that did not hold for the origin. But that's because I called the center on, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, probably. It's no other possibility, right? If this thing, if the bounding box is here and its origin is there, I mean, these things are just completely fixed. All of this is in item space. You can scale it and move it, but relative to each other, it's fixed because those are hard-coded stuff in item coordinates. And if then you put, if you make this size equal to pixels, and you put the center in the center of the viewport, then, well, then there's the coordinate, and the origin, I mean. That's where it is. And the origin of my viewport is here. So did I cause this origin to be shifted here because I wanted it to be centered? Is it originally coinciding with that one? That would be truly a matrix of well, that doesn't do anything. Scale is 1 and translation is 0. Good, I can try that. So let's say we remove the center on. Which is not here. Where is it? If I remove this, so don't center the item. Create item, add it, don't center it. Then what I mean? Either it's random, which is unlikely, or something logical happens, and it can either be centered anyway, or the origin is still at the origin of whatever we added to. I would want to bet my money on any outcome, but I hope it's nope. Too bad, it's still centered. Okay, well, let's ask our AIs a question about this. Instead of calling I want to do something else such that the origin in item coordinates coincides with the origin of the viewport. What to add? Yep. Now, interestingly enough, although maybe not that surprising now I think about it, it changes the transform of the item. Obviously, I would say, yeah, because we can have many items, and the only thing I want now is that this item is shifted towards the origin of my view. And each item has its own transformation, aka translation and scaling and stuff. So it must be a member function of the item itself. that that does this. Set a transformation anchor view center. Anchor won't matter for set transform. I don't know what anchor is here. I don't know. I have so no clue. Let's see what the effect is of just this. Just this line. See if we can see any effect at all. I'm not going to call that. Let's just set the transformation anchor to the anchor view center. Whatever that is doing. I hope to see some effect, then I can understand it. I doubt it. There is no effect. I was afraid of that. So we still don't know what that is doing. Although maybe there's another one. Let's see if there are more options for this function. For example, if we can find that. That is the Q graphics viewpoint anchor. Why the hell this is not clickable? Kill them. Ridiculous. Have to go through Google every time. No search and no clickable links. What kind of documentation is that? Nope. That's also not what we want. We want a bloody definition of it. Nothing is clickable. Oh, here it is. No anchor, no anchor. The view leaves the scene position unchanged. I don't get it. Anchor view center. The scene point at the center of the view is used as the anchor. Point under the mouse is used as the anchor. And what is an anchor then? Here, yeah, the resize the view, for example. So I think that no anchor actually means the top left. Then it anchors on the, it has to anchor somewhere. That I think this means anchor on the origin. And then we can see at least which origin, because we have now two origins and they are different. And the centers are not different. Yeah, the item center and the viewport center are on top of each other, so that you can't see what that is. But if I replace this with no anchor, arg, and I'm gonna type D2F colon. Stupid mouse. Okay, so it still got centered because I think it still does the center on by itself. But if now I resize it, it should not change, well, the whatever. I think the translation should not be changed. Meaning that this distance from here to there should stay the same. Methinks. Flip. No, it doesn't. Still bloody centered. Sorry, but what do you mean no anchor? This is exactly the same as without that. No, then I don't do it. It has no effect. The reset transform. Start with an identity matrix. Well, this should have effect. Shouldn't it? There's no way it can still be centered after this. And did translate? What? Why? How? I can so not follow this at all. What is reset transform anyway? I thought it was renamed to world transform or world coordinates anyway. It's, I'm not convinced that this is still the correct. Reset transform. Yeah, well, they don't say deprecate it and use world transform instead. So I suppose it still is the correct thing then. There's only one kind of transform then. So if per item, then I suppose that this is like the only transform that exists. Namely, the transform between the view and the item. But this is on the graphic view. Yeah, on the graphic view. Wait a minute. That's not what I want. No, we were looking for one on the item. I was going to call this on the item, no? Test view. No, it's called on the view, and here I was talking about that it was so logical to call this on the item. But it is called on the view. Now I am absolutely stumped. Then that's the opposite of logical. Wait a minute. Is every item that is added to a view using the same coordinate system? I thought each their own local coordinate system. But then I would expect every item to have their own transform matrix. What you call on the view. That would influence all items. Then if I have multiple items, I can't get them all to have their origin at the origin of the view. Okay, they all live in the same coordinate space. So item does have a set pulse and a set rotation. And I cannot reset that then. Okay, let's go to set rotation. I must be able to find a set rotation for an item. This is the graphics item, and it has a set rotation. It also has a set pos, a set scale, and I set transform. PQRS, so where's the reset? Remove, reset transform, there it is, on the Q graphics item. So we want to call that on the item, yeah, Mr. Intelligence, not artificial, okay. So we have a test item, and I want to call the reset transform on that. It just didn't tell us because that's normally not done. Yeah, duh. On the other hand, immediately after creation, you would expect this to be already true. Let's first call center on so that it doesn't do that afterwards because we didn't do it. And then reset the transform. No idea why this would work, but probably doesn't work. Nope, not working. Absolutely no effect. And still nothing. Oh, this probably. I think that one of the things I want to do is to get the transforms and print them, so I know what they are. So far I'm only aware of two transforms. The item transform and the view transform. Maybe there is also I mean, the item is a graphics item, this is graphics view. Do I also have a scene? I do have a scene. Maybe that also has it. If it does, then it should have a reset transform. If even item has it, well, that should never be called. Then every transform is gonna have a reset transform. So let's try to find all of them. So Qt, give me all reset transforms. And then we see that I have an the Q transform class itself. Q painter class. Q graphics transform class. This is not what I wanted. Yeah, Q graphics item. That was the one. Yeah, okay. So in the Q graphics item we have an reset transform. And then we have the Q graphics view. That's here. The Q graphics view has one. And then the Q painter has one, apparently. There's also a Q graphics transform class. But that doesn't really have it, I think. Maybe it's better to grab all the header files of Qt. And that way find them. So it seems that so far I find 3. Control F. What? Reset transform. There's also just an A transform here. Just accesses the Q transform. Let's hunt for the headers. Qt career is still running. Let's quit that. This is also running. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yes, no. I'm closing OBS because this showed up. Exit. Yeah. Okay, now Qt back, man. Query, grab, Qt. Should we get pretty close? No, doesn't. Qt then. That's a lot. That's too much actually. Qt translation, seriously? No, the L. Oh, language translations. The yeah, it's probably core. There's no core even. Base then. Connectivity, blah blah blah. It's another base. Yeah. QT6 base then, okay. I think that's the only one. The only one that might contain headers. This contains headers. Yeah, here are headers. They are installed there, I guess. There's not headers and doc licenses. Who cares about that? MK spec. Yeah, well, the rest is in. I think their headers are in slash. What was I highlighting? So user. No, it should be include something. That user include. This is the directory where I would expect all the headers to be installed in. As root even. Is that nonsense? I can't compile it, so I should be able to do it like this. Find in that directory files. I don't know if they end on .h. Not sure. Probably like widgets. No, they don't. They explicitly don't end on .h. But they do start with the Q, I think. That would be pretty safe bet. But I'm just gonna read every bloody file. Type F, execute, grab, list. No, let's do first this and then, I don't know. I was also not sure. I think reset transform is a pretty long word that comes very, very close. Now, that's the three that I already found. Item, view, and Q Painter. And these same have then, let's say you want to get a transform. That would be, yeah, this one here, transform. So that is something that returns a Q transform. Probably never as a conservant. At least this is not doing that. You have a scene transform and a device transform in the item. It's scary. How can you have only one reset if there are two transforms? Maybe this one combines it. Pass a viewport transform and then it combines it with the scene transform. Oh boy. We have a transform and a scene transform and a device transform and an item transform. No, then what are we resetting here? We have a whole list of transforms. How many transforms do you want? You have it. This is QT! Free after Sparta. Yeah, I don't know. X-form functions. I'm not sure I want to know about this transform. So there is a Q painter transform. Well, I just found it. Yeah. This one. But there's also a world transform. Transform and a device transform. Yeah. And then we have the item transform stuff. There's suddenly no item. The graphics item. This is not returning a cons reference. Interesting. So probably it doesn't have a transform, but it can create something. Well, this device transform, I even have to pass something then to it. The viewport transform. I probably have to get that from the viewport then. So I suppose this is gonna return the Q transforms. Yep, that is 4 of them. Seriously, item transform? Well, by now I gave up every hope to make sense of this. A reference to a viewport transform must be passed. What is this? An other item probably. Okay, that said so much. Let's not go into that. And then after that we're going to print those. Item scene transform is the item scene transform. And then we have the item device transform. Yay, only 2. Were those console references? The painter. Yeah, these are console references. Let's use console references here as well then. Painter underscore device transform is this, and you have a world transform, which I did not see here. How we do here? Also a console reference. Suddenly on top doesn't work anymore. So it sets it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to return M11, I think. So basically the horizontal scaling then. But they should never be different. Oh, I'll print them both, why not? Yeah, I'm not printing rotation or shearing or anything. The rest is just considered to be a null or 1 or whatever it wants to be. Probably all 0. For exactly the same reason, I'm not doing this. Scale is the scale. These are floats or... Well, they are Q reals. They don't want to expose that there are floats. bit unclear. Is it this one or that one? Yeah. I'll worry it when the scale is unequal 1. Whatever the offset is. Let's hope the offset is 0 and then I can completely ignore it anyway. Well, the scale is 1. Can't say the same about the translation. We have at least one translation as a 0 here. 2, 3, wow. The viewport transform is translation. That's what I want to be 0. I want everything to be 0. I don't know what this is doing here. Maybe because I moved the window? Probably the position of the window itself, which is also not super interesting then. Let's see if that changes it now. The device transform, the painter device transform is now 1255. We move it over here. Yeah, that changes, the painter changes if I change the position of the window. That is not very interesting then, is it? Oh, and now nothing changes. Excusez-moi. Just one line. Yeah, it's still 1255. Shit. That's not true that it changes then. No, it stays at 1255. I think they introduced world transform to replace transform, and they are the same. Yeah. So now we have world transform and device transform, and this one should not really be used anymore. What the hell is 233? Nothing. Yeah, I think I'm going to bed. You have a long, long, long way ahead. And I'm tired of it. And I have to go to the hospital tomorrow. So I have to get up early-ish. Probably wrong, but I just feel like doing a really weird move. So I give away both my rook and my bishop. Oh, I had not seen that secret. I thought I give check the rook, so then I pick up the rook afterwards. Yeah, now it's lost. This is... yeah, okay. Almost. I just still wonder how bad was it. It was good. It was fucking good move. Holy shit! You see that? It's almost the best move you can do. Almost. Oh. Yeah. It is the best move. Oh, I still feel good. Still feels good. Yeah. Amazing. Then where did they make the mistake? This is just a horribly good move. It is mate. It's actually mate this. Oh, and then I took there, also good. And they took there, and then he have mate in 6. I give check, and he runs away, and now I made a mistake. I didn't see this. Yeah. You can put it in between. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, you can't do this because it's mate in wall because of the bishop. Oh, it was good. Purely intuitive because I had not calculated it. It just felt right. Yeah.